The banks profit when you're financially uneducated because they'll keep you saving money in the bank. They'll keep you in consumer debt. If the banks lived by their own advice, which is save money, the banks would be losing money. When you go and deposit $1,000 in the bank, that cash that you deposited is a liability for the bank. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money away from your pocket. We're taught to go to school, to get a degree, to get a job, so we can then get a job and climb the corporate ladder. But wealthy people don't do that. Wealthy people are not working to climb the corporate ladder. They're working to own the corporate ladder. I didn't even realize that you could do that. Now, you can climb the corporate ladder and work to own the corporate ladder at the same time, but it's a different mindset, right?
Right.
Most of us are taught to get that degree so we can do one thing, climb the corporate ladder, earn a bigger salary. But if you only rely on your salary, you're just one step away from being broke. Because if you lose your job, something happens to you, you can't work, or your company goes down, you lost your salary and now you have no income coming in, and now what? You're scrambling for a job, maybe you have some savings to help take care of you.
Or if you haven't been saving and you just spend on things all the time and you have no savings, then you're really screwed.
You're going into credit card debt,
and
now you're trying to figure out how do you make things work. And by then it's too late. This is where you gotta be proactive. And now I'm just like, this is crazy. Why was I never taught this? I was never taught about wealth. I was never taught about investing. I was never taught about this sort of financial education. But why aren't we taught this? And that's when I realized it's very profitable to keep people financially uneducated. It's profitable to keep people poor.
Interesting.
The banks profit when you're financially uneducated because they'll keep you saving money in the bank. They'll keep you in consumer debt. If the banks lived by their own advice, which is save money, the banks would be losing money. When you go and deposit $1,000 in the bank, that cash that you deposited is a liability for the bank. An asset is something that puts money in your pocket. A liability is something that takes money away from your pocket. So when the bank has your cash, it's a liability for them. They want to get rid of it as fast as possible. And the way they do that is by lending it out because it's an investment for the bank. They don't want to hold on to cash, but they want you to save your money.
You want you to give them cash.
Right.
And just leave it there.
Leave it there. And what's happening to your cash while it's there? It's losing value to inflation each and every day. Every day that you keep your cash in the bank, you're becoming poorer each and every day. So real estate is one of the best tax games for investors. That's one of the reasons why wealthy people love investing in real estate, because not only can you get cash flow, but you also get tax benefits. People talking about the importance of higher education, the importance of going into debt to get your degree. And then at the same time, that's your number one asset. It's holding so many people back from buying a home, from living their lives, from doing things, investing their money. Yet at the same time, it's keeping the government rich.
Wow.
This is where, that mindset, you have to start thinking a little bit differently and start asking questions to the status quo, to the system, to the way things are done. And, if you're like me, you're gonna get a little angry. You're gonna get frustrated because you're gonna realize, what the heck? Why are people not taught this? Why are we not taught how to use our money? Because nowadays, people are paying 50 grand a year to get a good college degree, but at the same time now, YouTube is decentralizing education.
Free.
For free. And you can learn from anybody you want. If you don't like the way that I sound, hit the X button, go to somebody else, right?
Exactly.
And it doesn't cost you a penny. You can learn from anybody, people who are actually doing what they teach, and you can learn from the comfort of your home.
What do you wish we taught everyone from the ages of 10 to 20?
Sure.
5 different things around money.
First thing would be, what is money? Because money, as we know it, is fake. Our dollars are just pieces of paper. I grew up thinking that our paper dollars are like the holy grail. You want to save this money because it is the most valuable thing there is. As I became older, I started to realize that that's not the case. Our paper dollars are just pieces of paper. It's fiat currency, which means it's issued by the government, and the value is backed through the strength of the government. Inflation is when the value of a dollar goes down. So these dollars, which many of us think that if we hoard this, we'll become wealthy, save your money to wealth, is actually keeping you poor, and it's making you poorer each and every day. So the first thing you have to understand is, what is money? Second thing you have to understand is, what do wealthy people work for? And most of us, the majority of us, are taught to work to get a job and climb that corporate ladder. But wealthy people are doing something completely different. They're working to own the corporate ladder. They're working for something called equity. And this thing really blew my mind, because wealthy people are not working for that paycheck. They're working to own a piece of the company. That way they can get a piece of the profits. See, a big company, you have to ask the question, who are they working for? Are they working to take care of their employees? Are they working to take care of their customers? Neither. They're working to take care of one person, their shareholders. So once you start to understand that, you'll realize why there's this big discrepancy between what people are paid and what people want to be paid. And when you start to understand that, you're going to change what you do with your money.
Yeah.
The third thing is that you have to think bigger. You have to be the one to take that first step. And once you start to take that first step, you're going to learn and see the second step. Then you take the second step and you're like, oh, I can start $100 investment here. You don't have to start with hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars. Start with $100. And then the next thing that you have to do,
Number four,
is you have to understand the concept of debt. Because we live in this consumer culture. And it's interesting where we want to live this flex lifestyle, right? I want to show off on Instagram. I want to show off my new car, my new Chanel, Gucci purse. And we kind of get caught up where I need to live a certain lifestyle. That way people can think that I'm rich. But what you're doing now is you're living broke.
Right.
Making everybody else rich, so people think you're rich.
Right.
You're product rich. You have a lot of nice stuff, but you're broke. And so when you live that type of lifestyle, you are the reason why Gucci, Louis Vuitton, Chanel are making so much money, but it's keeping you broke. So what's happening? You're going into debt to buy liabilities, which are things that lose your money, and then you're paying interest on top of that, which is making everybody else rich, which leaves no money in your pocket to make yourself rich. And you have to break out of that mindset.
How do people get comfortable understanding about debt, either using it in the right ways and eliminating the debts that don't support our financial growth?
Yeah, so the first thing is never finance anything that isn't gonna pay you. Okay, so
Give me an example.
Gucci, your vacations, your car, stop financing these things that aren't paying you. And people are gonna get upset when I say your car, because they're gonna say, wait, how am I supposed to buy a car without a car payment?
Don't buy a $100,000 car unless you got the money in the bank to buy it, and plus more. Buy a used car for $6,000.
Exactly. The first time I made $1 million in a year, my car was $500.
Dude.
My employees had better cars than I did.
I had a $4,000 car for the first 5 years living in Los Angeles. $4,000 car, used car, 1997.
Exactly. And so, you have to just first understand what it is that's worth spending money on and what's not. And then, if you do have that debt, you've got to come up with a strategy to pay it down as fast as possible.
Okay, so understanding debt was the fourth thing. What was the fifth thing you wish people learned from 10 to 20 years old about money?
You have to be willing to make mistakes, take risks, and start.